What we got going on here. So, quick demo with this guy. You guys should be able to see me in there. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy.
Ooh, that's a spirit.
Yeah, I know, right? So, not necessarily. It's the exact opposite. So, this is a thermal imaging camera, obviously. What are we looking for in here?
Anything you can't see with your eyes?
How so? Can we see temperature?
Yes.
No, we cannot. This can. We're looking for what, guys? What do you think? Cold spots. Literal cold spots. This is why we have this out here. So, again, with me being red, orange, and yellow in here, sorry all you fellas, but I'm the hottest thing inside the camera right now. That's just how that works because I'm the only person inside the camera right now. Now, we're looking for blue and black to either move or take shape on its own. So, again, there's going to be weird anomalies that'll show up from time to time. We'll always try to debunk them first, but you will get this full video back. The cool thing about the video and the way I have this set up for you is that there's a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen, giving us the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So the cool thing is it's going to help direct your eye on where the cold spots might actually be. So as great as the hardware is, because this is a FLIR, the software sucks. If we record for too long, we're going to lose footage. So I will make sure I give direction on where the starts and stops are going to be for this guy. So Sasquatch, I think I'm going to go with you on this one, just because I keep calling you Sasquatch. So you're going to hold this where it's horizontal all night with the camera on your left, and the red square means that it's recording. We're going to keep it running for a little bit. I'll give you the cue of when to stop.
Okay.
This next crazy Ghostbuster-y looking camera works a lot differently. You guys are a really quiet group, either super attentive or like, what the hell did we sign up for kind of people. We're going to find out really fast. You should not be able to see me in this little tiny black camera right here. I know it's very exciting, I'm showing you a black screen, but let's turn on some lights. The entire screen should be illuminated purple at this point. You can see that. You should be able to see me in there pretty clearly because it is an HD. So again, the hope here is that we can be able to see things we normally wouldn't be able to see with our own eyes because we're using lights that we can't see with our own eyes. This is infrared lighting. We're also going to be using an accompanying item to go along with this to hopefully detect any motion that's going to go through this thing. So again, I'm going to start the recording now just to make sure that the humidity is not going to affect it. It hasn't the past few nights, but we're going to start it early anyway. So this one's actually going to go ahead. Alright, so I'll be right back. You were right the first time, and then right behind it, that's the handle. Perfect. But you can handle it where you want to, but I like to kind of get this out of the way to make sure it goes to the right party because it's really the only two-person job. So let me kind of get this in and out of the way. This is the neuralizer from Men in Black. Nobody's going to remember anything. Yes, you're laughing. Good. Means you're going to have a good time. Awesome. So we're working with lasers here. So the whole point with the lasers is the camera I just handed Tish. You can see the lasers like a Christmas tree. So if anything passes through the lasers, it's the only time you can actually see them. So in the event we capture something on that camera, I'll be able to take this still and give you the still to show you what we actually caught. Now, we're going to be using two different style of lasers. This one gives us red squares. In the event something passes through here, and obviously my hand is in the red squares, I can put that still in a 3D software and give you a full 3D view of what we caught along with measurements of what we caught. So again, I've had this guy for about a year now, and every picture I tried to put in there where we actually caught something with this particular laser, it's been slightly too blurry for the software to be able to take. So hopefully we get some nice slow motions out of Tish tonight, and then, oh my god, I lost another name. Other Sasquatch. Bobby? Yeah. Alright, so Bobby, you're going to get these. And what's funny is I actually have it right tonight because I want the short person to have the camera, the tall person to have the lasers. So the reason why is because you're going to have a much higher reach and she's going to want to keep the camera low because we're shooting through the laser. So again, this one has a button that you have to hold on. It's right where my finger's dangling on it, so you have to press it to hold it. This one has a light switch. So once it's on, it's on. You have to turn off the light switch to be able to shut it off. When you're using them, make sure that they both touch the tip of your toes, so that way you know you have them in control, because there is a laser law in Charleston, we don't want to be flashing cars. So again, there you go. Those will both go to you, sir. Spirit boxes. Let's get into those. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. Who doesn't love a good spirit box, right? Aha. So, spirit boxes on your TV shows, this is basically your radio sweeper, the white noise that you guys normally hear, and then basically your host of the show is going to tell you the BS he thinks he heard and try to get you to be convinced of the same thing. We're doing this in real time. However, I have mine slowed down on purpose. None of you are trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours, plus the history I'm going to give you. Somebody's going to fall asleep, because we all use white noise to fall asleep these days. So the slowed downness of this makes the radio chatter actually come through. It's another method you can use. It's going to give us a lot of radio chatter, song lyrics, DJs, commercials, those kind of things. I want you guys to tell me what you're hearing out of this as far as the radio chatter. To get disembodied voices like what they show you on TV is a rarity. Doesn't mean we won't capture them. I'm just telling you it is hard to catch. However, things coming out of the radio stations, 50-50 shot of tying it to where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens pretty much on a nightly basis. So when I say pretty much, it's like a 98% chance we're going to capture something with this guy. Now, Madison's going to have earbuds in. She's going to be the only ones to actually hear this in real time, but hers is recording. So tomorrow morning, you guys are going to get the recording back with my notes of things that I find when I spot check it, and I'll be writing down whatever Madison hears in real time. So again, you're going to have 2 sets of notes from this recording. So Madison, the only thing I need you to worry about, first off, your earwax is gross. You get to keep the earbuds. So those are yours. I don't want them back. Undo the switch side, and your volume button is the wheel. So remember, you're listening for the radio stations to start coming through and see what you hear out of that. No, the Estes method is where you have both of them in your ears and you don't know what questions we're asking. You're just going to have one earbud in. I have 2 of those. However, the second one is not going to record. So I'm going to be relying on the person in real time to be able to write down the notes that come out of this. I lost your name too. You guys are the first ones here, and I'm forgetting everybody's name over there. Riley, thank you. So Riley, you're going to get the second one. So again, your earwax is also nasty. You get to keep that. Your volume button is the wheel at the top. So again, I'm going to be relying on you in real time to be able to tell us what's going on. Let's get out to the crazy spirit box. Russ, you go by Russ or Russell?
Either one.
Either one. You're going to get the newest spirit box.
Right.
Just because you've been chit-chatting with me all week, and I want to give you something super fun to do. So this one in particular is going to sweep through the FM and AM radio stations at the same time, and it's going to attempt to take out the white noise that Madison and Riley are listening to. It doesn't always do the best of job with that, but you're only going to hear about 10 to 12 things that are going to actually come out of this guy. So again, those 10 or 12 terms, 75% of them will be relevant to our location. So, hello.
Hi.
You're probably on the wrong tour because I already have all my people.
All right.
So you're probably looking for Bulldog, which is up by the gas lamp. Make a left.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Can I say that out loud? Sure did. See why I have you guys ask? They tell me your names, and that way I know who I'm working with. So the only thing you need to worry about with yours, Russ, is how to hold it. So this is obviously the front of it. The speaker's down here. The blinking lights are the top. The right-hand side has one button. It's the mute button. Right now I have the mute button pressed because we're going to be near Pony soon. I'll let you know when it's safe to unmute your spirit box. It's on the right-hand side on the spine. Yep, you got it. Right there in the center.
It'll go out like this.
No, you'll hold it so you're looking at the lights.
I'm looking at the light.
Yeah, you got it. That way the speaker's coming at you.
Gotcha.
I use lots of spirit boxes. So, the next one, and I try to put one in every single group, which you guys don't have one yet, do you? I didn't think so, because I'm on top of things. So your spirit box. This one, we don't have to listen to it, which is super great. It's doing all the listening for us. So it's going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. So this one would replace an obelisk if you're fans of the TV shows. This has 36,000 terms and phrases in its dictionary. 80% of this is going to be garbage because this is a phone app. So again, we're going to be playing the game. Is it coming from a ghost or is it coming from the phone app itself? I love this guy. Why? Because it's going to save all of those words and terms into a list with timestamps. It helps me to know where to listen to a spirit box, where to watch the recordings, and so forth and so on. So, with that being said, I'm going to clear out last night's tour. They had 97 terms and phrases come up. They actually had a really good list. There was probably about 18 terms out of their list that were actually relevant to our spaces. So, with that said, I'm actually going to hand this off to Renee. I don't want to see every single word that pops up. Okay. I will come to you when I want to see the list. Okay. Let's see. Maya, I'm going to give you the hardest spirit box that we have. Awesome. Lucky you. Now, yours is because it's an older style of spirit box. It doesn't have earbuds. So, you are going to have to control the volume on making sure that you can actually hear this thing, and that way everybody can hear it. One of the reasons why I'm giving this to you is because Sasquatch Dad over there, his camera actually records audio, so if you miss something, it's okay. It's going to come up on the audio as long as you stay close to that camera. The only thing you need to worry about is where the volume button is. It's right here on the side of the ball speaker. You roll it up, and hold it there to get the volume, and then when I say let's turn them down, you just roll it down and hold it there. So that way it'll go all the way down. It's not a keep pressing it or whatever, you roll it and keep it there. So get used to where that volume button is. Alright, what do we got left?
Keep it up the whole time.
I'll tell you when to go up down.
Chris, we're gonna keep you busy now. So, you guys have seen these on your TV shows, just so you guys know, like the little blinky lights, right, of what they show you on TV. They use these on TV because they're very, very sensitive. This is an electromagnetic field meter, EMF meter for short. So it's going to measure any kind of electricity, parking meters, buildings, cell phones, anything like that. We use this one to debunk a lot of things. So all you have to do is let me know what colors you're seeing, because we're going to use another one that Keith is using. Look at me getting names right. And we're going to compare both of them. This is digital, yours is not. So just let me know what colors you see, but you're going to be double-fisted. You're getting a digital camera as well. So I don't know my hand is to teenagers because they don't know what the hell it is. Again, this is a quick point and shoot. There is no flash on this. When you're taking pictures, nice and still. Otherwise, everything's going to turn out blurry. And again, blurriness, and the reason why we keep the flash off is we don't want any false positives in our photographs. You could take 5 pictures, you could take 500 pictures. I'm going to go through them all regardless, and selfies get deleted. So Madison, no selfies. All right, so you get both of those. I'll keep you very, very busy. And the reason why I did this way is because Madison has an extra earbud. You can actually help her listen when you have it upside down. Wow, did I give it to the wrong person? There you go. All right, Keith. You look like a very scientific man. You're going to have your thumb on everybody's gear with the device I'm going to give you. Yes. So, with that said, this is what we call a millimeter. What this guy actually does, it has 3 different functions. It has a K2, like an EMF meter built into it, but again, like I said, it's digital. So anything on the big numbers above 2.5, I kind of want to know what's going on. We're going to debunk things first, and then we'll kind of see what's going on. The bottom is ambient temperature. If Sasquatch finds something over there on his camera, you and I can prove it or debunk it with the yellow probe at the top. It's measuring the ambient air around it. The last thing that it has is it has a REM pod, or motion sensor. So if something gets close to that antenna that I just pulled out, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it right now. So if something just kind of breezes by it, it's going to go off. The closer it gets, obviously the higher pitch. We're going to talk more about that at our second stop. So we'll start talking about that when we're going to start using it. But for now, just kind of get used to how those numbers actually work.
What's that called?
That's a millimeter.
Millimeter.
Mel, M-E-L.
I'm a man of the
Mail
mill.
me.
I'm a millimeter.
All right, the bag is empty, which means everybody's geared up. Yes. The volume button is at the top. Remember, it's the wheel, not the button. The wheel. Nope, not the button. Next to the button. Yeah. So feel the button right here. To your right, there's a wheel in here. So just kind of feel for that way. It's inlaid there a little bit. I know it's kind of hard.
Say it out randomly, or
For the most part, you can, but I will be following up with every person at each stop, kind of seeing like what's going on. You'll see how this is going to roll. So, yeah, definitely turn it up so you can kind of get a gist of how it actually sounds. So, Riley, do you have the gist of how yours sounds already? You got the gist of that? Good deal. All right, so not yet. We're going to talk about that again at your second stop because that's where we're going to start using the motion sensor. And I heard you have the volume piece down on yours, right? You figured out how to turn it up and down? Good deal.
Turn it up.
Oh, we don't need to yet. I just want to make sure she knew how to get to it.
I think she figured it out.
All right, so let's talk about why we started here. Of course, most of you just dined or had a quick drink in Big John's. Probably not enough drinks that you wanted to, right, Sasquatch? So, of course, the place is haunted. That's why we started here. So, Big John. This place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a building or a space, I will always slow down on the keywords because of these 6 spirit boxes we're using. Keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, and anything relatable to a bar and the name John. Obviously, the name John. But anyway, he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. So Big John has a bartender throw them out, and they leave pretty pissed off. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, and he slams down his beer, and he goes over and just starts pounding on these guys, right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. After being the only one that's been shot, John gets up, and he goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, gets the 2 guys on the floor, and ambulance. Now, normally if I tell you that a building is haunted, it's not rap music playing. No, I'm kidding. I'm just making sure you guys are paying attention. If I tell you a place is haunted, you automatically think of some kind of tragic death that actually occurred in that space. What's haunting this place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. When I say allegedly, the new renovation of Big John's may have filled it in, which means that Big John's blood is still in the wall. There's no way they got every single drop of it out before it dried up. So, people that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is kind of the heated warning. If anybody feels any of those symptoms tonight, I need to know immediately. First, we're going to blame the heat and humidity, but we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity, and I don't know how it's going to affect you. So I did have a young lady get sick on the tour a few nights ago, but of course we blamed the heat and humidity because it was really bad that night. Because that's just how we roll. Not everything's going to be paranormal, just so you know. Now, a couple of you just looked at me like, seriously, like, what the hell did we sign up for? That's okay. We're going to move on, because we got moms here, and we don't need, worried moms through the whole night. We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that from another history tour, now you do. Every tour guide will talk about that earthquake because this is South Carolina. We're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes. This building is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. You see a piece of the mantle that you see in the middle of the building broke off and hit somebody in the back of the head and killed him, and that you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. It was not him flying by with all those bright lights, just so you know. Yes, you're still paying attention. Good. You're all still here. So, I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue, so none of the moms that I ever get on the tour are thinking about their kids getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go play Scooby-Doo and see what kind of ghosts we can find?
Yes.
All right, I say we do this. We're going to go this way.
That's it.
I seriously forgot your name, Sasquatch.
It's Andrew. It's okay. Sasquatch works.
You know what's funny is that's my middle name. You think I'd actually remember that? But I started on that Sasquatch bit, and it's going to be stuck with me all night long. All right, everybody, welcome to your first stop. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. It's just so we can talk more about your devices. This is the big red barn lot. This is where we keep the horses, at least some of them, for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them. I'm out here 7 nights a week, so I'm pretty much immune to the smell of horses. So, the history here is really simple. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So keywords here are going to be delivery, milk, eggs, and anything relatable to a stable. Let's talk about spirit boxes, because we do have 6 of them in the play. Make sure we got it straight and how we're going to be using them tonight. So what's the first question everybody wants to ask when they get a communication device to a ghost, like a Ouija board or a spirit box? What do you think my question is? What is that? What is that?
How will I die? Are you nice, ghost?
Wow, you guys got a lot going on.
Attachment.
Who are you?
It's normally is anybody here. You guys just gave me like 12 new questions. So some of those were yes and no questions, which will still prove my point. So if you ask is anybody here, and then Madison hears no, that means somebody's here. So we are not going to be asking yes or no questions all night long. Man, that was actually kind of went on for a minute. You guys had them going. But at the same time, let's give you an example of things that I will kind of give you throughout the night. In a space like this, when I'm teaching people how to use a spirit box, I normally tell you to ask a question you already know the answer to. For example, if somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. I say looking because Renee has a word list. She doesn't have to listen. The rest of you are using song lyrics and DJs to convey messages back to us in a possible disembodied voice. But the word red might not be available to the DJ or song lyric, but fire truck, blood, heart. Those 3 things are specifically red. I would actually take that as an acceptable answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. I'm good with that. However, most of the night I'm going to require that there's at least 2 happenings going on, whether it's from the same device or not, to be able to verify what's going on. Another example. Let's say Renee's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to us over here. But then Russ hears the number 40 come out of his spirit box. Together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Do you guys see where I'm going with this about putting all the clues together? You're like in an escape room. You're not on a normal ghost tour. So again, it's about putting all of these clues together to see what's actually going to match up. Most of the night, I will say, like, that's a great first clue. Let's wait for a secondary verifier. You'll hear that term come out of me a lot. However, a lot of those verifiers may come out tomorrow morning when we're reviewing the data, when I'm going through it tonight and tomorrow morning. But again, I am going to withhold information on purpose in a lot of these locations, so that way all of you actually have a genuine experience. I'm not going to tell you everything I know about every single space we're going to. Sometimes things just start popping up, and I'll say, that's a great first clue. Let me wait for that second one so I can actually tell you that extra bit of information. So, now that you guys have a better gist of how to use those spirit boxes, let's talk about these cameras, and then we're going to roll on, because I'm actually going to have to work with Keith on his device at the next location. So we're going to start with the thermal imaging camera. So, Andrew, not Sasquatch. You're going to try to do two things for us. Well, first off, I guess to all cameras, whether you have a digital camera or not, Chris. So we're going to be in spaces where there's going to be cars and people walking by. People don't like their cars to be filmed, and they definitely don't like to be filmed or pictures taken of them by themselves. So we're not going to be vloggers out here. We're investigating. So with your camera, I'm going to have you try to do two things. Even though I said don't record people, I do want you to try to keep one of us in view at all times. Why? We're the warmest thing out here, no matter how hot and humid it is for us. So that array of color is because of our heat coming off of our skin. Much easier to find a cold spot if there's heat in there. The other piece of that, keep the sky out of view. The blue dot is looking for a surface. There's no surface on the sky, and will always default to the sky looking for the coldest area. So if you can, keep the sky out. So people in, sky out, if you can on the sky. So yours is nice and simple, nice and slow movements. Tish and Bobby. Bobby, point one of your lasers down for me. Perfect. So Tish, you're not going to be pointing your camera directly down at it. You're going to take 2 steps away from him, and you're going to be shooting straight through it, because we're looking from something from here to here. It's going to show in between. If we're looking down at it, we won't be able to see all of the movement that might actually be going on. So again, this isn't always, especially with the thermal imaging camera too, like an in-the-moment type catch. Sometimes, like I caught something last night, we didn't know it was even there, and it actually showed up in a digital picture from the green laser. So again, I don't know what exactly it was, but it was a weird movement that actually came through, because you could see the laser that was once it was there. So again, if you're going to use both of them in tandem, you don't want to cross the extremes. It's a bad Ghostbusters joke, but it's a perfect example. You want to use them side by side to make sure you have 2 laser grids pointing down at the ground, and that way the ghost actually has a little bit more play to be able to actually work with. Kind of see where I'm going with that? Yep. So basically I have 2 pyramids working down this way. All right. Any major questions that I can answer about your devices before we get away from football players and ponies? Wow, you guys are super silent. We're going to get you guys working. All right, let's go learn much deeper history than the pony and get away from this space without you guys having better view. What do you think? Should we find something on that? I hope so. I love that box. I just got it a few months ago.
There's a look at my arm's tired as heck holding this damn thing. Whew, smoking. I'm going arm to arm.
And we have some weird stuff in 3 days.
It's interesting. So, you know, Calhoun was buried here. That was Jackson's vice president. So, very interesting. We'll see if something pops up actually out of that. Very cool. Every hotel down here has a haunted plane, just so you guys know. If you're unsure of what it is, just Google it. You will find it. Now, welcome to your parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. I know, a weird space, but I told you I was taking you to weird spaces. This place used to be something. So, I guess first and foremost, have we seen any numbers on yours or any colors on yours? I'm talking to you, Chris. No. You have any colors on your box? And any numbers coming up on yours, Keith? Alright, so I always kind of like to know, get a reading ahead of time. first off, I should let you know where we're at. This is the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site. So we're going to talk about these folks, but I do like to warn the spirit boxes first and foremost. I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the red barn. You will get the answers from your spirit boxes. There's at least one in every single party. So that way you guys can actually all listen in some way, shape, or form. Now, who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. Now you know why we look for the secondary verifiers. That's 3 different Chucks. I need to know which one we're chatting with. So again, keep that in mind. Now, as far as who they were, Eliza married Charles at, well, I guess first off, their kids. Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. And it said that already, didn't it? Holy cow. That's a long name, folks.
You're at 2, you're at 4.
Of course, now I know. It's just weird. So,
Mine says Eliza.
does it say Eliza
We
already?
said it since we were over there, though.
How high? Anything higher than that 4?
It's about 4.
Okay. And Chris, what do you have on yours?
It went up to yellow, but I thought it might just be as well.
His
Do I
watches
need to
are
raise
close
my
enough.
antenna yet?
Not yet. I'm going to show you how to use it. My apologies for that repeat.
I'm at
folks.
3.3 now.
The son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Now, it's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. So we're actually going to move on and talk more about Eliza. What's funny is her name showed up on her way out of here last night. So again, it was almost like a last minute letting us know that she was actually here. We had a lot of activity going on. So Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, it is not going to be numbers like 12 and 14, just so you have that idea. It is going to be according to today's standards. Now, she married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying. And he was trying to bring all of his kids home one last time. He thinks he's going to be gone, so he just wants to see his kids. But Eliza didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put, and she got married. I'm looking at your colors, so I'm getting really distracted. Oh, you got all red this morning. That's good. He's getting some pretty high readings over here, so lay it flat, Chris, just to make sure we're not getting any kind of misnomers from being tilted the wrong way. There you go, yep. So that way we can all kind of keep an eye on it. It's 1744 when she married Charles, so you're not marrying in 1744 over here to get a green card, because we're not even a country yet. So she did marry Charles out of love, and even after he died, because remember, he's over double her age, that, she remained a widow this entire time. Instead, her father was getting better, which means Eliza was right. He starts sending her indigo from England to this space. Now, you guys have all been in town for at least an hour or 2 that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. But when she got these seeds from her dad, she didn't know what to do with it. So she had to learn from her slaves on how to keep them cultivated in our weird temperatures. It's not always hot here. So when she figured it out, she moves it to a plantation south of here and calls her dad up and says, the rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with all of this indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So, again, that's her business. Now we're going to go through some of the weird stuff before I start working with Keith on that motion sensor. So go ahead and put your lasers for a minute, and Tish, come on in so you can kind of hear all of these questions. Because Riley's going to be asking specific questions, but we're going to start with Madison. So Madison, I'm going to have you ask questions about the children. I told you there's at least one. His name was Charles, right? You can ask how many kids she had and what their names were. That's it. The reason why I'm telling her that's it is because there's a tragedy among those kids. If we poke the bear towards this very respectable woman, we are going to piss her off, basically, and all activity will stop, including the readings that we're getting out of the EMF meters. So, names and how many total that there actually were. If we get those kind of answers, we'll kind of proceed and see where else we want to go with that. As far as yours, I want you to ask about Eliza's death. Anything you want to. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, very specific questions going along with that. Your spirit box. So Russ, the mansion's not here anymore. You can obviously ask what happened to it, and then when did that happen? These are the kinds of answers that we get out of that type of spirit box. It's usually 1 to 2 syllable answers. Again, obviously you can kind of already guess that it's a tragedy of some sort. So kind of keep that in mind. Let's see. Do this. So, Mom, I'm going to go with yours first. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza, back to back from Charles. It's either really smart or really stupid, fellas, no matter how you look at it. But again, it's one or the other. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L.
Okay.
Find out which Eliza we're dealing with by asking her maiden name. I have seen both maiden names on your list in this space in the past. That's why I'm giving those questions to you.
Okay.
Maya. I want you to ask how old Eliza was when she got married. And if you get an answer, ask how old her husband was, because he was over double her age. It's a pretty big number. So you're going to stick to those because, again, your spirit box can be hard to listen to. So I'm giving you some simple questions to see if we can get an answer out of it first before I give you more. All right, so everybody knows what they're doing with their laser grids by now. Like you guys were already demonstrating really, really well. So Chris was already, are you snapping pictures already, or have you just been kind of waiting? Perfect. So I am going to work with Keith for a few minutes just to show him how to use that motion sensor. Those of you with cameras, keep in mind there are parked cars in here, and it looks like everybody's coming to their cars, which is great. Like, let them get out of our way. We do not go in between vehicles, but we are going to stay within the confines of these walls. I will be bouncing around with all of you, writing very copious notes, but I do have to write down the readings that we've gotten so far. So you got all the way up to the first red one, is that correct, Chris? And then you went all the way up to 4.4? 16. Holy mackerel.
So 11.1, 16.
Your tail? Here, interrupt your thing and listen for those words.
You had those little ones, right? 3.4 and like a 4.2.
2, 4, 6.
This is
You
all the
saw an 11 on
time.
there.
So 11.1.
11.1. And then 16.2. So at this point, we're going to escalate it. Anything above 16.2, that way I'm not writing pages and pages of numbers. So again, not that they're not significant, but I want to see how high we can actually get this guy to actually go. All right, everybody, let's spread out. Nice slow movements on those cameras. Let's get the laser grids working. So Bobby, no pressure on you, but those lasers will make car alarms go off, so kind of keep them on the ground. That's why I say make sure they're touching the floor. All right, spread out. Keith, you're going to hang out with me. Chris, you can do it too. If you want to see how-
And watch the
Yeah. She's got to put her volume up, I think, right? She's got to ask questions. Help?
Oh, I'm here to start. I can't hear anything. My ears like deaf on the side.
I don't feel it. Sorry, hold it. Hold it. Hold it over. I don't know.
I didn't do it before, so I'm not sure. There, I hear something now.
I don't feel the button.
Oh my god, it's right there.
Oh.
There.
You're supposed to ask questions.
No, leave it.
You're supposed to ask questions. You guys hearing anything? It's crazy.
I haven't added anything into this. So this is like super weird.
It's said it since you gave it to me.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, it just stayed on the screen.
No, it gave us
No,
like
it
50
just
different.
keeps doing it.
And what's weird is like, because you can add words into this, but I don't do that. So that way we actually have a true dictionary. And the only thing in there was like 50 different Elizas. I just deleted them to make sure we're going to get a legit reading. But yeah, it gave it to us 28 times. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen. The other funny thing is that now it's only showing one word on there. I'm going to actually reset the phone.
Okay.
And maybe that'll help us, because otherwise we're just going to get Eliza on there all night.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
that's-
just say 13, maybe. I don't know. No, I don't know anymore. He said it wasn't a crazy young age. Oh, what? Okay. Yeah.
But what's funny is we get the number 14 here all the time, because that's how long they were married.
I thought it said 13.
She heard 13, but I'm just telling you it was 14 years. That is
It's a relevant number.
right.
Walk around a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, same question. Just keep asking.
She's nervous. Stay
Yeah.
higher.
Yeah, I don't want to die.
You're not gonna. Go ahead. Answer your question.
Elijah, how old were you when you got married?
12.
You said 12? You said it wasn't crazy young.
Keep walking and asking. You gotta keep saying.
See, it just said age 12 again.
It says age 12.
It just said age
12, like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Age 12?
Yeah, 3 times distinctly. Age 12. Age 12. See? Do it
I
again.
thought it wasn't young though.
It wasn't.
Ask the question.
Elijah, how old are you when you got married?
Definitely a very distinguished age 12. I'm with her.
Really?
It's at age 12.
It'll be on your audio, so you'll be able to verify it that it said that. Alright, so let's see what's going on now. It still only says 1,200 words. That's the craziest thing. And there they all are. We had 28 times show up Eliza.
Blank now, though.
It is blank, so if Eliza pops up again, we obviously have something weird going on, and we're going to have to probably pull it on this. But I'm going to give you the fact that it gave you Eliza 28 times,
Okay.
just to kind of show the weirdness that it gave us.
Alright.
And then, of course, you'll be helping with my repair device.
Sure.
So,
How old is your
What did it say?
25. But that can't be right because he was way older. She just got very clear 25 too. No, let's only ask about husband. Yeah, I asked, what were their names? I didn't say
she was 22, just so you know. So
Okay.
it's not 25.
Okay.
Keep asking. Keep asking. Keep asking. want to do the camera? We'll switch.
You want to switch?
No, her. Alright, keep asking questions. You got anything?
No, I don't have any words.
Alright, what's going on with that word list now?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
It's like logging blanks though.
And you know what's funny? Yeah. See how it says like 1, 2, 3, 4? I have the paid version of this that's supposed to have 36,000 terms in it. And it says
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. And it says upgrade to pro version. I already have the pro version. Wow. I want to hit restore. Maybe we can get it back. Yeah, it's not even bringing us. So uncanny. It's just weird that it brought us nothing but Eliza and a custom dictionary that I didn't create. So I'm going to put that out there too, because it's not like I put Eliza in there 50 times for us to go tour for 2 hours. So like that is just the craziest thing to me. I'm going to play around with this for a few, so I guess you can help with this one. I'm going to uninstall it and try to reinstall it. Maybe that'll help us out. Wow. Of all the devices that don't work, like seriously, it's a phone app.
Seems about right. Keep asking the questions.
We keep asking the same questions. Yeah. I'm not getting any number answers. I don't want me to ask any other questions. No, because you're not supposed to. No. No. I want to keep for help. No.
Eliza.
No.
How old were you when you got married? Eliza, how old's your husband? Eliza, how old was your husband?
Alright, we're gonna stop here. Alright. Did we hear any names along the way? Anything come out of yours, Riley? Did you hear anything coming out of it at all? You should have been unmuted along the way. Didn't hear anything? You had it muted? Okay. Maya, did you hear anything out of yours? Okay.
She had it on.
That's okay.
I only heard some of the street names as we walked past.
What'd you hear? Okay, remember now? Okay, it's alright. I know a lot of you guys were talking and making new friends, which is perfectly fine, because that's why you're all here, to have fun. So welcome to Lodge Alley. So this space, when we cross that last crosswalk, we definitely want to get some footage in here, so hit that record button. If we're going to use the lasers, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a better experiment than pointing them at the ground. So what we're going to do, once she gets her camera up and running, shoot.
Your body.
Should be a red spot, right?
Yeah, go ahead and click it. There you go. Shoot them up. Can you see the front of it? It should be blinking. Nope. There you go. Alright, so what we're going to do with the lasers is you're going to stand, let's have you come down this way and stand right in front of that pipe, like against the wall there, and shine one of your lasers against the wall this way, and you're going to be shining your camera like right down the middle of the alley. So what we're looking for here is any kind of motion that's going to show into here. Kind of everybody knows what we're looking for. So when we cross that last crosswalk coming down, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So Charlestown, the wall city, you're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. So
Still original.
still the original bricks, 1739. So people are actually going to pass through here, by the way. We will not film them, and obviously we'll pull the laser on you, so we got that right. So with that said, why I asked you for names is because I have the full list of residents of every single person that's ever lived down here. The names I commonly hear on the loop down here are Benjamin and John. Now, Benjamin and John both lived down here in 1801. I have no other significance about Benjamin and John other than the time frame that they actually lived here. So the interesting thing is I get those names, you guys get those names every 6 to 7 weeks. We are on like week 6 of the loop of the last time that I actually heard them. So when we get those names, here's what we're dealing with. You're standing on Belgian blocks. It's a good thing you brought up the bricks. These bricks are what I'm calling the stone tube theory. Okay, it is an actual paranormal theory. Here's how it works. Because these bricks have been here for a few hundred years, it is said that they're hanging on to the consciousness and memories of the things that occurred here. Hence why we get the same names over and over and over again. Now when I say, by the way, when people live down here, only like 5 people live down here at a time. So again, Benjamin and John, that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. So pretty good chances it's the same Ben and John. If we're ever unclear, John likes to give us his last name, which is Johnson. His name was John Johnson. So again, we will get Ben, John, and Johnson all in the same evening. Now, here's the interesting thing. The bricks that we're standing on, because they've been here for so long, and they're made out of granite, by the way, which means they're not supposed to have any kind of electrical charge to them whatsoever. So Pete, I'm going to have you set your device on any brick that you choose. Don't worry about that back button. We're worried about the numbers. So literally set your device on the ground. Any brick you want to. We should not get anything above a 1.1, which is natural EMF from the Earth. So if we get anything above that 2.5, it's super exciting. Last time we actually got it all the way up to an 8 by just letting it hang out there for a minute or two. Again, granite, even when you break it apart, does not release an electrical charge like, say, quartz or magnetite. So again, these are rocks that are natural from the Earth that will create electricity when you break them. Even if you're next to them, you're still going to get an electrical charge. Granite, you're not supposed to get anything, which is what these bricks are made out of. Have you gotten anything out of that guy yet?
1.6.
Okay, so that's still kind of a natural kind of deal.
4.3.
4.3?
Can I interject?
Yes.
When I turned it on, so I walked that way. So I walked by that right there. It said close the door.
That was the guy
Let's
talking
go.
about.
So maybe just came out close the door.
I see that.
And then there was a woman's voice that said, and it was an African American on this thing. It said close the door. Wow. 3 minutes. The door.
not very lengthy. People, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge, hence the name Lodge Alley. So we will get terms wrapped around the Freemasons as well, like Freemason, Mason, Brick, symbols, and the word Illuminati loves to show up on your red spirit boxes, the one used in the earbuds. Now, first off, I'll ask you, who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio, because that's what we're listening to. Second, why we only hear it when we're in this space. I don't hear it in any other location. We have verification from 6 times last year's tours, 3 times so far on the tours this year. Again, that's 9 times total that the word Illuminati has been heard in this space. So there's no exact rhyme or reason to the stone tape theory with that. That's a random. But Benjamin and John are definitely on that loop.
These stones right here,
Yes.
back, these are original.
1739 that we know of. Again, it's speculated that it could be earlier, but we know that they've been here at least since 1739. Now, the next space we're going to go to, go ahead and kill your lasers, but I want to keep the footage going before we walk out. We're going to go to another alley. However, we can't go all the way through it like what we're doing here. Why? Because I've been kicked out. You guys have the blinky lights and the flash and the noisemakers. It is considered residential at the end. We took the, did you get somebody take like an alley tour?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully you've probably already seen this one coming up, is Philadelphia Alley. I'll tell you how I got through that in there, but I definitely want you guys listening to your spirit boxes along the way. You can go ahead and pick up your device if nothing above 4.3 has come up on there. But we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to that next alley, so we want to make sure we cut off the video. So the two of you will be stopping the video as we exit. So that way we're not filming people's houses, just like with cars. But everybody else, definitely pay attention to your spirit boxes, and the EMF meters are still going to go off because of the parking meters on the street. So you can ignore your numbers and phones yet again. But again, it's a little humid down here. So
Is it louder?
This tight space. So let's move up this way. Any other wet drips coming up on you, Bobby?
He's close enough too.
This is amazing. It's this old. 1739.
Yeah, it's impressive.
How many people have been across this thing?
We have Philadelphia. We're from New Jersey, so there's Philadelphia and that same thing. There's a lot of roads that are still.
Like this?
Oh yeah.
It's impressive just to know who's been across that, you know.
Yeah. And that it just still holds.
Talking about Netflix specials. So what we were talking about was pirates, obviously. So there's a documentary on Netflix that's absolutely amazing. It's like watching a movie. It's called The Lost Kingdom of Pirates. So it's pretty accurate from all the things that I've read. So you have to imagine, like I said, I've read a lot of books since I actually had that first investigation. So what have we heard or seen along the way? Russ, you got anything?
Repair damage.
Repair and damage. I like it.
I've heard that.
Back? Back. Okay. My back is fine, other than it being sweaty. We don't need to repair it. It's not damaged. Anybody else hear anything?
I heard church.
You're going to get a lot of religious terms over here because we're close to the church. And that is Church Street, just so you have that idea. Alright, so welcome to the Powder Magazine. We're going to be exploring this space in full, but I'd like to bring you back here first to give you the history because a lot of other tours like to come up here, so we're just going to stay out of their way. We're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there. That's the Powder Magazine. So, those are not crosses on that building, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're unfamiliar with earthquake bolts, basically, if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, which we have not, you can turn them. They're turnbuckles. It's supposed to straighten the building back up again. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work very well. So, again, the only reason I bring these up is because these are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. This is the original structure. So, it held gunpowder for 7 different wars and 1 rebellion. We talked about those Charlestown walls earlier. So when we were back at Lodge Alley, where that garage is where the walls actually stood. It actually came up Cumberland Street, just past the Powder Magazine, and started going south behind me. It puts the Powder Magazine in the corners of the wall on purpose, protecting it because it's holding gunpowder. So in the event that pirate ships or Revolutionary warships come up to the water, they're 3 blocks away. They're going to have a hard time getting their cannonball all the way up here. So that's part of the reason why it's all the way as far away into the wall as it can be. But the walls are 32 inches thick. They're not going to have a hard time going all the way through, even if they do make it this far. Or we're going to pretend that that cannonball from the water goes all the way through and blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof from its early construction of the early 1700s that was put there to go up with the explosion, because it's not going to go out through the thick walls and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder once it's exploded. That's another great idea, but it doesn't work. The reason I bring that up is because the sand is still there. The sand doesn't disintegrate. It's not hot enough here for that thing to be compressed and turned into glass. So it is still sand. But we are here because this building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came to Charlestown. So let's kind of get into that. In the middle of this construction, 1708, a young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? There's a couple of little twists in here. I like to slow down on them. Now the three of them, Anne, the father, and the mistress, are running away from his wife. So how angry was she that she got to leave the country from Ireland to land over here? Just pointing that out. But they land in Georgetown, and Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to Charlestown to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland, she's kind of a badass. She actually killed one of her servants when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. This chick's pretty hardcore. I just put that in your brain so you kind of have that idea about her through the whole story. We're going to fast forward. The building is finished in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne's going to fall in love because she wants her freedom just like a man. Guy number one, yes, I'm going to keep tally. There's that many. Guy number one turns out to be James Bonny. You already know where this is going because we already mentioned Anne Bonny's name and we thought we saw her across the street. So, Dad doesn't approve of this young man because he's a filthy pirate. So they run away to Jamaica and they get married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny, your famous female pirates. But this guy is not Captain Jack Sparrow like she was hoping for. This guy is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. He's a coward. This is not who she wants. So she falls in love again a few years later. Guy number two, John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the Captain Jack Sparrow kind of person she was looking for because this is the real person that they based that character off of. Calico Jack has his own ship and wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on the crew. Does anybody know why? Girls are bad luck on a pirate ship. You can't put a girl on the crew. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you could be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland, so that way he can hide her from his wife. So she's like, whatever, I'm part of the society, it's a man's world, let's do this. Most of us are adults here, we can put two and two together. Being a female in Jack's quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So he drops her off in Cuba, because Jack can't have his crew know that there's a girl there. So he drops her in Cuba, says have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but comes back with no kid. We have no idea what happened to the baby. There's no record of him anywhere, or her. But she's also dressed like a female when she does come back. This makes Jack pretty angry, because now everybody's going to know that she was a girl on the crew. And while she was away, Jack captured another pirate crew down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting, because that's what Anne does. Guy number three. Guy number three turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have two females dressed like males on the same ship trying to be pirates. Her and this young lady's name is Mary Read, by the way. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're never going to know for certain. And the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to come down and take out one pirate ship. But Anne and Mary are the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannon jets. They're not pirates for very long. So, obviously, two young ladies trying to take on a fleet of ships is not going to work out. They get arrested by the British. And as they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain, Calico Jack, and says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. The word dog shows up here quite often. It actually showed up here last night on the word list, just so you guys know. But anyway, the judge, his name is Nick as well, so if you guys hear my name, it's not me, it's usually relative to him. He wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly after he tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight. So Anne and Mary go in front. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Dad is still here in the Charlestown area with all of his Irish money, so he bails out Anne and brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number two, but guy number four. Yes, we're going to count Mary Read because we don't know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know about Anne. Yes, it's a very abrupt ending. Mary Read, she dies a year later in 1721 in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Some say it was just fever, but I'm sure it was very scurvious and gross and nasty. use your own imaginations on that one. So, I only left out 2 questions here because you guys all know what you do with your spirit boxes by now. Even though we're struggling to hear things, you guys get the gist of how we ask questions to them. So, spirit boxes, I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents, that's the father and the mistress, and I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So if you guys want to start with those questions, everything else is fair game. Like, Russ, you're pretty good about coming up with your own questions, like what you did at the Pinky Mansion site. You'll be curious to see what kind of answers you get out of that. Keith, as far as your device, I want you to focus on the color of Anne Bonny's hair. See if she'll show you the color, like with the little flickering lights at the top. Again, one of the few times you've ever actually gotten the color red was when we asked her directly, and this is an Irish woman. The only pictures of her do depict her with red hair. So again, very interesting. We got that answer about 2 weeks ago. I've been testing it ever since to see if we can get it again. It's been coming out of other spirit boxes, but I really want to try to get it out of that millimeter. As far as the cameras go, you guys can leave the lot. Go to the front where the exit is, make a left up the sidewalk, and check out the front of the powder magazine. Again, we're going to know within the first 5 to 7 minutes if something's actually going on here or not. Otherwise, it'll just be recordings for us all to review after I, obviously upload everything. But crank up those spirit boxes. As far as the cameras, the only thing I'll ask is that make sure you stay out of the way of the other tours. So let them tell their story and move on. That way you can go up there and get some clear footage. Lasers can be used in the front lawn if you'd like. Just make sure you stay on the lawn, like through the gates and on the lawn of the front powder magazine. But let's spread out. I'm going to actually head towards that wall and drop the bag for a few, and then see, start spot checking with you guys to see what we got going on.
Sorry.
No, no worries. Guys hearing anything? You asking questions?
Trying to find the name of the ship. was the ghost. I wasn't anything different. Can you go there?
Were you guys asking anything specific?
What?
His father's name is William.
That's pretty good. You asked
Let me
that
guess,
one,
you're
too.
my skeptic of the night. You're the one that doesn't believe in ghosts. Yeah,
No,
I thought
I
so.
know. I don't not believe in it. I'm just so scared that I'm gonna die that I'm acting like I don't believe it. That's happening.
Is that what's really happening?
She's reverse psychology.
Yeah, that's not.
Okay. So hopefully tonight, because this is our last stop, hopefully you saw that ghost hunting isn't the scary stuff they show you on TV. Like, ghost hunting is learning about the history. It's all about history, because if you don't know the history, the Willie doesn't mean anything. If you didn't know that the father's name was William, that wouldn't have made any sense at all, and I wouldn't have. Now, Madison heard church while we were on Church Street. So again, we're also near a giant church. So again, I hear like church, Bible, pastor, preacher. Like, are those scary terms? No, they're relative to a church. So again, when you hear those, it's not a scary thing. It's just somebody's recognizing that we're near a church and wants to tell us, like, we can see what's going on. We see that you're trying to talk to us. These are what we can grab to be able to talk to you. That's what these spirit boxes do. So again, you should see it's not a scary thing. Now the word list, like, that can get, like, it's meant to try to scare you because it has fake terms in there like you're dead or no, and that kind of thing. And that's all garbage. You don't need any of this. So again, you're at your last stop. You made it. So hopefully we find a ghost in Dad's camera. Am I assuming right, Mom, Dad, daughter? Okay,
Yeah.
I hate to assume anything because you never know. But again, hopefully I find something in Dad's camera and you can see a ghost walking by. So
That'd be cool.
that would be cool. And you never even knew he was there because it's only in the camera.
There you go.
See there?
I don't want.
It's like our house. It's like Hector at our house.
What? What? Well, I'm guessing that's like a big.
There's no doubt if we use this stuff at our houses.
No, don't even.
Told you it was Willie.
You guys heard it?
I heard Willie out there, yeah. And Dad's name was William. It's right after she asked the name.
What was the mother's name?
What was the mother's name?
My little one heard.
What was the name of the ship? What was the name of the ship?
Did you just make up
So?
that name about our house?
Hector? Oh, I made that up when my sister didn't scare Daddy. It is like completely fogged. I feel like this whole
Does it
half of
hurt?
my head is fogged and it hurts. I'm gonna have to go to the urgent care in the morning. There's something wrong. And I don't think it's just gonna go away.
Here, you hold that on these.
You the porta potty? You're kidding.
Why is the building hot?
Inside.
What? No, this right here. What's in there?
It absorbs heat. It's terracotta roof, cement walls.
Oh.
Ooh, that was clear. You heard that? What did it say? All the
So,
something?
what's funny about you guys hearing Willie?
Yeah.
You guys got the father, they have the mother.
There you go.
Yeah, how about that?
We walked past like, I don't know.
Got it?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that in 1713 they were able to build a structure with so many safes.
That all did nothing.
Well, they never had to test it.
No, but he said that things don't work that turn them right, and
Well, yeah,
that sand
I know.
doesn't work for them out.
But they put that in. They put 36-inch thick walls. They put the sand and ceiling. Like, have the forethought of all those things 400 years ago.
What's the name of the ship? It's close every time.
What is that, Maya?
Cockroach. How do you know it's a cockroach? Because there was a huge show that was done.
Where'd it go?
I haven't got
What did that just say? Did that say Roger?
it. Sounded like war or something.
Yeah, like I heard a Raj.
Heard that. That's what that sounded like.
I'm gonna write down ROG, and that'll make a whole lot of sense.
I hear it, man.
That's what's funny is everybody else.
Then I'm here in church.
They have
Like I hear a choir.
the father's name, they have the mother's name. So again, all of this is starting to tie in together a little bit. All right, Bobby, Tish, come on over.
I was like, wow, that person's really tall.
Sam doesn't understand
I remember it sounded like that.
I can't hear it in my ear.
My back will be sweaty by the time we're done. I'm drenched.
She heard cold beer distinctively.
What did it say?
Cold beer.
Cold beer. Who needs one? Yeah, it's hot out here. I'm not going to be writing that one down. Unless it was rum. Because why is all the rum gone, everybody? All right? My daughter loves that line. So, what's funny is that's what I actually drink. When I'm home smoking my tobacco pipe, I always have a little shot of rum to go along with it. So my daughter always says, Dad, why is all the rum gone? Because I drank it all. I'm not a pirate. So, but anyway, here's what I'm excited about. This is probably the best pieces of evidence that we've had all night, so congrats to you. We did get the name. What did we get, Maya?
Will.
We got Willie.
Lil. Alright, whatever.
Heard Willie.
Same
The
difference.
father's name was William. Now, you guys heard the name Mary Johnson. The mother's name was Mary Brennan. So again, we still have Willie and a Mary. I'm going to take it. Now, when I was just standing next to Russ, we both heard a Raj popping up through his spirit box. What's interesting about Raj, you're thinking of the Jolly Roger. That is not the name of Calico Jack's ship, but it is the name of the ship that he designed a flag for. The skull and crossbones that you guys normally affiliate with pirates, he actually designed the skull and cross swords. So again, that's where the skull and crossbones originated from, and it was aboard the Jolly Roger, which we've had the name Roger here quite a bit. I will also tell you that with Russ's device, the second night I've been using it, so that was a couple of months ago, I'm collecting devices and the person hands it to me, and plain as day we hear pirate just like that. We were close enough to the thermal imaging camera where we actually caught it on the camera because my voice recorder didn't pick it up. But it did say it not as part of a sentence, but just as a word. It wasn't like the Pittsburgh Pirates are winning. It was like pirate, and that's all we heard out of it. And then I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Luckily we caught it. So very cool stuff. I already told you we've had the REM readings of red that has shown up on Keith's, but not tonight. So we didn't get a direct red where it stayed on there after a direct answer. But he did get a lot of flickering lights, and he did have a little bit of a spike on his EMF detection. So he got a 6.1, which is an anomaly here because we don't normally get EMF at this space. He was standing pretty close to those bushes when he got it. So very interesting indeed. Probably the best pieces of evidence we've had all night. You heard church music on yours. We had the name church.
Choir.
So again, you guys didn't hear anything religious while we were at the Pinckney Mansion site or Lodge Alley or Philadelphia Alley until we got close to St. Philip's Church. So again, we did get the word church because we're on Church Street. Again, this is probably the first kind of clues that I have to be able to work with out of your data, especially since we're going to be missing that word list. So I'm going to hopefully get that app booked up and running for my future tours, but that hopefully we're going to find quite a bit tonight with the rest of this. This was pretty cool. I'm going to start collecting devices. Oh, actually, I'm going to get you the rest of those answers. So hang on. I didn't show you what Aunt Bonnie looked like. We all want to see Aunt Bonnie, right? So this is one of the few pictures you can find of Aunt Bonnie with a shirt on. Reason why is because she used to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So I always show this particular picture because I do get teenage boys on this tour and I don't need angry moms leaving it. So again, this is what Anne Bonny looked like. Obviously the red depiction of her hair. I think that the flintlocks are incorrect. I think they would have been using a duckbill. I'm not completely certain on that based on the time period, but my thought is that it would have been a duckbill. But this is what Anne Bonny looked like. You already know the names of her parents, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. As far as Calico Jack, I would like to show you what he looked like as well, because the original woodcut picture of him kind of gives you a different perspective of your Captain Jack Sparrow person that they based it off of. So Calico Jack, he was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. Calico Jack, fancy jacket. So again, this is the person that they based, and the name of his ship was called the Kingston. So I wasn't expecting Kingston on any device other than Russ's device, because his picks up more disembodied voices than anybody else's. But the word king on any other spirit box would actually suffice from that particular kind of question.
Every time we kept asking the question about his ship's name, like you could pick up everything, and then as soon as we asked that question, it went pure
Dead
static.
silent.
You couldn't make out anything.
Wow.
So I said, well, I guess she doesn't want us to know.
And again, I told you the ship name isn't often heard here, which is why I keep poking the bear on that one. And we're talking pirates. We can poke the bear a little bit more than trying to piss off a responsible person of Eliza Pinckney. Pirates are used to that harsh talk. So again, we can push here a little bit. And that's what, it was funny when we got that color red out of that millimeter. So, but again, I think you guys were finally starting to get the gist of how to listen to those spirit boxes as we, moved along through the tour. This is a little bit lighter, obviously, than what I normally see, but of course I got plenty of notes to be able to go through and see if there's anything secondary that's going through in the recordings. Now, when I go through your data in the morning, you're going to see a couple of things. So let's move down here so I can start collecting those devices for you. A lot of people ask me about my own investigations. That is put into a podcast format, and that's at the top of your data page because a lot of people ask me about that. And then you're going to see that your data will be up there for, I'm going to let yours point for a little bit. How many pictures did you give us? A couple hundred?
Yeah, about 50.
50, 100?
Yeah, 50.
Wow, we're getting a lot of flickering lights out of that. Looks like you're getting Morse code. Does anybody know Morse code?
I don't know it. But
Oh, I was going to say, can you interpret then? Because I'm dying to know what it says. It'd be funny if somebody actually was on my tour and I actually knew Morse code. Nice work with this, by the way. This is not an easy camera to handle. And I don't know if you guys actually touched this top torch, but
Oh yeah, it was hot.
it is
Yeah, a couple times
super
I was
hot.
like, don't touch that. I don't know if I'm supposed to.
She said it in her dog was?
Yeah. Sometimes, the
Shit.
humidity
I swear to
will
God,
affect
she
some
said
of the
Kingston.
gear. It's just a
She
matter
might
of
not
what's
have.
going on.
Yes, yes.
All right.
That's a tough one. Those
Yeah.
are tough.
When do you get to the recording? I listen to these recordings with my first cup of coffee.